So I was talking with one individual in the industry who it was with a credit reporting firm that basically gets some alternative data, and that person said, look, when you're talking especially about people who've been categorized already with lower credit scores, it's a very different thing to say, am I going to pay my light bill so my lights can be working, right, in my home, versus am I going to pay that credit card bill? The two things are not the same level of like indicators of responsibility. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, things are good right now, right? So what happens when they're not?
Yes, this is sort of a modified version of the 2008 question. Like, what would happen to your underwriting model in 2008? And the short answer is, the current status quo models didn't do too well either. So unclear. Is it going to be worse? I don't know. But here's what we do know. Actually, if you look at, we all call it a subprime mortgage crisis. And actually, if you look at increasing defaults for subprime mortgages versus prime mortgages defaulted more often. So unclear to me whether your person.
Well, you had other elements there too, right? You had people who had good credit scores, who had mortgages, and all of a sudden their home values had dropped substantially. They were underwater, and they made calculations on their own of why do I keep paying this mortgage? That was sort of a different thing that maybe the scores could not have foreseen.
Perhaps.
But how could alternative data foresee it?
Machine learning models are fragile compared to logistic regression. So if things in the input space change in a weird way, the machine learning model will do something weird. And so part of what you have to do to make it safe to actually launch a machine learning model is put a bunch of pretty clever monitoring, which is actually pretty hard to do, around your model. So to watch the input variables, I left a big dent in the background, sorry. Sorry to all the folks who organize stages. And measure the things in the output space. That turned out to be kind of technically hard to do,